Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And today we are back. We're actually going to be covering two different shows. So we're back with our Seeking Sister Wife coverage. This is season 6, episode 6. I'm kind of vanilla in bed. And then we're gonna talk about the latest episode of Seeking Sister Wife, and then after that we're gonna talk about Love Is Blind, because Love Is Blind reunion happened last night, and we just want to kind of wrap up our Love Is Blind coverage to the best of our ability. So let's dive in.
Okay.
All right. So there were no Merrifields. No Merrifields. Which was very sad. But where do you want to start?
Okay. So, they start with Jackie and Leah talking. I think that they picked up, they were doing this the last episode.
Yeah. You want to start with the Peralta family?
Sure.
Okay.
So, Leah is the mother of one of Yessel's children and also Danny's best friend. Awkward. And Jackie is their new prospective potential sister wife. And so, of course, Leah wants to meet her because her son is going to be around her. So, they have this talk, and I don't know, the substance.
It was kind of nothing.
I don't even know. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just basically Leah saying, yeah, I want to get to know you before I, let my son around you. And Jackie's like, yeah, right. That's pretty smart. There was nothing more to it at all. But then all of their friends start showing up, and the friends are just like, oh, okay, great. I get the sense that maybe
why they were there.
Yeah, I don't know. Or I get the sense that Yesel and Danny come up with a lot of things, and they're sort of like, oh, what is this? What is this thing about now? Why are we all meeting at this bar? But
also, it's only been like 2 weeks since they met Jackie.
Yeah,
they've never met her or heard about her, let alone met her.
Oh, yeah, the friends haven't. Yeah, Yesel's leaving, so he's got to get this stuff set up before he goes.
Yeah, and his brother, Joel, he's really grilling Jackie. He wants to know, like, who are you? And after 2 weeks, Jackie's all in. Okay.
And I mean, again, we're back to this issue of, and they get into this later on about the babies and whether, like, Jackie seems to want to have more children, and that's a hard no for Danny. So why are we pursuing this?
Why are we here?
We already see this. But again, I think what we're seeing is, I think this is what Yesel does to Danny. Danny sets the boundary. Yesel, chips, 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 chips. Because you see it already. He's already, well, I'd like to have more kids. Well, what about this? What about that? Like chip, chip, chip. You want someone to take care of the babies. You want to have a friend, right? Blah, blah, blah. I mean.
Well, also, if Jackie is, okay, this woman has a child. She has to be discerning about what she's doing here. If after 2 weeks, she's just all in to move in with Yesel and Danny and these other children, I have a feeling they have been talking for longer than 2 weeks.
Yes.
And probably have been seeing each other on the down low.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that Yesel, that Danny is only known about this for a couple weeks, that Yesel and Jackie have been communicating?
Absolutely. Unless Jackie is just a psycho, and I don't think she is. But
yeah, I mean, some of these people are really all in very quickly. Did you see what Danny was wearing to the bar?
Yes.
And I thought that was fascinating. I was like, because I didn't notice it last week, but I noticed it this time. I'm like, yeah, you're really trying, because basically Danny, who's really beautiful, tall, statuette, I mean, but she was wearing to this like casual pub bar, you know, that everyone else is wearing puffer jackets and jeans.
Yeah.
She is wearing this, basically a see-through dress. It's like a long black lace see-through dress. And it's sort of that style that we see now where, you know, you can see the bra and the underwear, but it's kind of, you know, the underwear is a little bit bigger or the bra is a little bigger, you know, knowing that it's going to be shown.
Looks
but basically
like
it's a naked dress.
Yeah.
It's basically you're wearing a bra and underwear.
Yeah. No, that was not really appropriate for the occasion, but
yes. I was like, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But, so that's the first, and then Yesel, I thought we were going to follow them outside because Yesel's like, well, I'm going to go take Jackie out. I'm going to walk Jackie out. And I'm like, oh, this, he wants to make out with her.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get the camera crew to follow him. I'm like, oh, wait, where's he go? But who knows?
And you could tell when he said that, I'm going to walk her out. Danny's just standing there and she doesn't know what to do because she's like, do I say no? You know, she wants to speak up and say no, or I'll come with you. But she doesn't.
Yeah.
She just kind of like lets it happen. But the look on her face is very telling.
Very. Yeah. And so the other scene that we see is them at their home. This is Yesel's about to leave to go on one of his trips. Again, we still have no idea what he does or what he's doing on these trips. Danny is worried, right, that Yesel is the glue that keeps her and Jackie together because Yesel's putting a lot of pressure on her of like, hey, well, here, now you want the sister wife, here you go. You know, I'm leaving.
Well, and
have
also
her move in.
He tells her that basically, that she has to keep it together while he's gone. So he's putting this burden of, okay, you got to keep in contact with her. You got to keep it together, keep her interested. Then he says that, that he wants Danny to tell Jackie that she doesn't want any more kids.
Yeah.
He's putting this on her.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm just like, you asshole. Like, you can't, this is,
Yeah. Well, and also too, I mean, you two talked about all these things. You had all these rules. So why is it this is the first time that we're hearing that you want to have more kids, Yesel? Didn't you agree that you didn't want to have more kids? Like,
right. That was last week.
Yeah.
So.
But it's almost like, oh, I like Jackie and I want to make out with Jackie. So let's just pretend like we're going to have more kids and go along with this one.
Yeah. And he's built her into it. And he knows she's not going to be able to, she doesn't have the guts to go tell Jackie this.
Well, and then they were making fun of her a little bit like, oh, well, Danny, when Yesel's gone, Danny gets into this Danny bubble. I'm like, yeah, she's just trying to survive, people. Doesn't she? She's a nurse. She works.
Yeah.
It's a very stressful job. She has 2 young kids. The husband is gone. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's in a bubble. It was almost like she's being shamed because, you know, oh, you hide out. I'm like, yeah, she's exhausted. That when she has a couple hours to herself, she doesn't want to go hang out with Jackie.
No.
She wants to be by herself or she wants to do something that she wants to do. But that's what's being put on her. It's like, on top of everything else that you have to deal with, let's add one more relationship that you have to cultivate and watch.
Yeah, no, this is BS. This is terrible. It really is.
It is. Okay.
That's it for them.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Let's do the Johnsons because that's another annoying couple.
Another snooze fest.
This Matt I find so irritating. So irritating. Because he is the bare minimum. I'm just going to start calling him bare minimum. So we learned that they haven't seen Shanay in months. And Angelica,
I think.
In a month, sorry.
In a month, yeah.
And Angelica feels very guilty because she went and met that other woman, Marilyn, with Matt. And no one told Shanay about it. And so she and Shanay are meeting up for dinner or drinks or something. And apparently Matt wrote a text message to Shanay sort of, I love you and I want to be together and, basically being quote unquote very vulnerable in this. But I'm glad. But Shanay was like, I didn't know exactly what to do with it. And I never responded to it. And he never wrote back.
Wow.
And that was the other thing too, is like, here he is this, and I've met these guys before too. They're pieces of work where it's like, love, 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 can't live without you, love you so much, just all words. But when it comes to the actual like action, Shanay wasn't looking for you to write her more text messages. She was looking for you to, show up for her.
Yeah. Call her.
Whatever that looks like. Up. And so Shanay is, annoyed, and I don't blame her because Matt thinks that, I wrote her a text that Shanay should be just jumping, thank God Matt texted me, like this should be her she should just be jumping to be with him. But he did say that he's going to start talking to his work about not working weekends. I guess he works weekends or something so he can spend more time with Shanay. I mean, I don't feel like, Matt, you have time for another wife. You don't have time for this. You really don't.
He has his own. What? Even if he had the weekends off, what? He's going to leave every weekend, leave Angelica at home with these little kids by herself? No, that's not the answer, Matt. I mean,
I just don't understand. Why can't Shanay and Angelica be friends? Why can't they just hang out and be friends? Why does Matt have to be a part of it?
Because I think she wants to see her all the time. And if Matt is part of it, I don't know. Because Angelica says her feelings for Shanay are on the same level as Matt. And she keeps calling, Shanay calls Angelica her sister. I mean, these two I think the feeling is mutual. They're just, and I don't think it's sexual. I don't think they want to be, they're just very close friends. They're close. They feel like sisters. And they know that if they don't have this common denominator of Matt, I guess, that, they can't, I don't know, they won't see each other as much or something.
No, I think Matt drags them down. I think the two of them would have a better relationship if Matt wasn't involved. The problem now is that Angelica doesn't want to get in the middle of anything. So she doesn't want to tell Shanay that they went on this other date because she feels like it's Matt's place to say it. So you can't completely be honest with her about what's going on. And I mean, Matt's the one that's dragging it down. Like Shanay likes Angelica. That relationship's fine. It's Matt that she has the issue with. Yeah. So I say ditch Matt and
just be friends.
Just be friends.
Be friends. Yeah. Have like girls, meet up in the middle, meet halfway between your houses, for lunch like normal people do.
Yeah. Yeah. And just be friends. Matt doesn't need to be a part of it. Yeah. But so we see at the end that Matt is going on a date with Shanay. So again, he comes out, he's put on a suit and he's gotten roses. And he really, really wants a lot of praise for this. He really, really wants so much praise.
He's done so much
for this bare minimum of, I mean, it's not even a dozen roses. It looks like it's about 5.
Yeah.
And then he's waiting. It looks like they're going to go on some kind of food wine train kind of thing. So he's standing out there waiting so that's the cliffhanger. It's like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Will Shanay show up?
Yeah.
But he's like, if Shanay doesn't show up, he says, if Shanay doesn't show up, Angelica will be devastated. I'm like, again, this is telling us something.
Backwards. Yeah.
She will be devastated, not you. Not you. So why are we doing this? This just seems like a lot of work. Matt's exhausting and bringing you down.
He really is. God,
Yeah.
just get out of the way. Let these two be friends and just. I don't
And yet,
know.
Matt, you don't have time. You really don't have time for another relationship. You don't.
No, he's
You don't.
working. He's
You got
busy.
2 young kids. These are very tough times. When your kids are that little and you're both working full time, wait until they're a bit older.
Hey, how do you even have the energy?
Ugh, God. All right. So you want to go Williamson or Davis?
Let's go to the Williamsons.
Oh boy, this was good.
This was so good.
Reise is the gift that just keeps on giving, and he has no idea that he is, but God, he is like a gift. I could watch this man date constantly.
I know. That's the thing. Poor Reise.
I know.
He's doing all of this for BJ, who I hate now. I hate she's putting him through this.
Because she's forcing him.
She's using him. She's forcing him. She's terrible. And also, you guys have 2 children. Is that not enough?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Is that enough?
It's about being in what were we talking about? Like just just people just are so entitled. And it's like, you know what? You have 2 children. There are people out there that can't have children at all. You've been able to have
2 children and it didn't work out that way. So, it's like, be happy.
Yeah.
Be happy you have your 2 children. God.
So, yeah, no, you're right. Because this is all about them wanting to have, mainly Billie Jean wanting to have more kids and, and wanting to make it convenient for her so that, let's get another woman in here. And so these kids will live on the property. And so I can see them. I mean, it's just,
she wants a free surrogate. A free surrogate.
And it's that. And okay, just because you want something doesn't mean that you should do it and you should go through with it. Doesn't just because you would like to have more children. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. A lot of us don't intend. I don't know if I thought I was going to have 1 kid. I was just like, oh, this is a lot. I don't think I can handle another one. And then Max very much was the minute all of his friends in like kindergarten and like preschool and kindergarten where they started having second kids, Max was like, I don't want a brother and a sister. I don't like them. You are not. He's like, I don't want you to have any more children. It's like, oh, okay. He was like, no, I don't like those little kids. He couldn't stand them. He didn't want to share.
It's funny.
Anyway, so God. Yeah, this is very annoying. This
is hard to take. So, okay. So remember the last time we saw them, BJ asked her friend Nikki to find someone because Reise was having no luck on the apps.
Surprisingly.
Nikki said, well, I know just the person.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to set him up with her hairdresser named Bess.
Mm-hmm.
So Reise and Bess are going on a blind date for ice cream.
Yes, they went to the cottage, which is coffee and ice cream.
Yeah.
And they had to go a couple towns away. He's like, there's not much to do in Ross. So we had to go 2 towns over. I thought you were in the middle of nowhere.
Just to get ice cream?
Just to get ice cream and coffee at somewhere that's desolate. That is the only place to go. I was like, wow. So, but yeah, he says that he has all this pressure and he's like, there's a lot riding on this because there's such a small dating pool. I'm like, oh no. So poor Reise is so stressed out. He is so stressed out and he just doesn't know what to do. And
he's so nervous. He's having the nervous farts.
Yes. It's very weird. I was like, okay, I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's so all over the place,
Yeah. So he's driving there, 2 towns down, and he calls Billie Jean, and he's nervous, and she's trying to give him a pep talk, but she says, "Don't talk too much. Let her talk."
But doesn't he look like a mess? Doesn't he look like he's sweating?
Yes.
He's disheveled.
Yes.
He doesn't look well. He looks sick. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
It's like he's sweating, has a fever or something.
Yes. He's physically going to get sick. Oh boy. So then Bess shows up, and Bess, it looks like a hairdresser. She's got, hairdressers always have hair. They always love to experiment on themselves, right? So she's got like multicolored hair, and she kind of comes in and immediately I think she's just like, oh God. I mean,
No,
I
she
think
took one look at him and was like, no.
Yeah, I think it was one look at him, and then the way the way he popped up, oh, hello, I think she was like, oh no.
Very animated.
Yes. Yes. It was awkward. And the poor thing, he didn't know if he should shake her hand or if he should hug her, and he's so, doesn't know what to do.
So awkward.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Beth says that she's thought about having plural relationships, which I guess that's why she's here.
Yeah.
But she had a different idea of what a plural relationship might look like.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, so then they were like, oh, okay, well, let's have some ice cream. So like, okay, well, let's get in line for ice cream. Now, Bess's favorite flavor is bubble gum, which I thought was odd.
Yeah.
Because who has bubble gum ice cream after 10? I don't know. Yeah. And of course he's there, and this is where we get the line from the episode. He's just like, oh yeah, I just like vanilla. My wife says I'm kind of vanilla in bed. And Bess was like, I am out of here. Bess was like, the minute she heard that, which again,
yes,
I too would be with Bess. I mean, I wouldn't have been on the date. I'm with Bess on this. Like, you are not selling yourself well at all, Reise.
No, not a good thing. Not a good thing to say. Yeah. And then Bess makes a comment. They kind of cut in between the date and Bess just kind of ragging on him. So they cut to her and she says, Reise seems very bland. My man needs to be more manly than me.
Yeah. Well, she's like, because it sounds like she is, I don't know if she's bi or she's fluid or pan or whatever.
Bi-curious. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, she's right. Like if I wanted to have female energy, I'd be with a woman. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. And then, of course, Reise forgets his wallet. So he has to run out to the car to get his wallet. And she's just kind of awkwardly standing there. And the cashier says that this whole thing is so awkward. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, I mean, mind you, this entire date was probably 5 to 8 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she ate that ice cream really fast and got the F out of there.
I don't even think she finished it. Mm-hmm. And when they were in line, I think, there was no line. There was nobody else in there. But when they were looking at the ice cream flavors, she said that she can't have any more kids. And I'm thinking, Nikki, did you not understand the assignment?
Yeah. That was really weird because she said, I can't have any more kids. And her kids are teenagers. Yeah. I guess her kid's older. And she's a little bit like, listen, my kid's grown. I thought we were just going to have a good time. I think she thought like, hey, we're going to be a throuple and this is going to be fun. Exactly. Hey, this Ross is boring. There's nothing much going on in these towns. She thought she was going to have a good time. She didn't know that she was going to be, looking to be a baby making machine. And again, where are you going to find somebody who's going to want this arrangement?
Yeah, I don't care what town you're in, whether you're in, small town or you're not a lot of people are like, oh, sure, just use me for my body and my womb. And I'll just, you're going to stick me in a outbuilding over here.
A barnuminium.
I can't even live in the main house.
No,
what the fuck? Nobody in America is going to agree to this.
Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. That's what I was thinking too. Like you didn't tell Nikki, Nikki didn't get and understand the assignment of what she was supposed to do. So then we see these more interviews with Bess and she's like, she asks, oh, this was good. She asks Reise, have you ever been with a man before? Which is the question we all want to ask.
He's kind of like, no, but I get that a lot.
And then she's trying to be nice in this interview. She's like, he seems like a guy that would be in a lot of plays.
She's spot on.
Oh, yeah. But she's just like, I just want to have a good time. I don't need all this. And then, she sees this guy he's like sick to his stomach and a nervous Nelly and I'm terrible in bed. I mean, she's just like, why am I here? So, okay, great. I'm going to have to be with this guy that's super anxious and nervous and have horrible sex with him. And then like once or twice to have these babies, and then you're going to stick me in a shed. And when you're tired of hanging out with the babies, I'm going to get them. Like this is what you are proposing.
Yeah. What a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very quickly, again, the whole date was 5 minutes long. Very quickly, she's like, well, I don't really think this is going to work out. And she kind of gets up and like, nice to meet you. And she sort of gets up and leaves.
Which is, again, the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you're just, I've walked out of things, been like, no, never going to, like, goodbye, you know? And that's the thing too, that's the thing about blind dates that are hard, which is you don't know if you're going to be attracted to the person.
Yeah.
Until you're there. So if there's nothing there.
Yeah, but they were set up by this Nikki who totally failed. So anyway.
Well, or maybe Nikki was like, I couldn't get anyone else. She's the only one. She's my hairdresser.
I tried.
Listen, I told her I'd get an extra cut this month and she's going to come and I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, boy, Reise is just the best.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I like Reise. I mean,
I do too.
Seems to have a heart of gold, and I'm pissed off that like this BJ is doing this to him.
Well, because this is really the thing is not only are you sort of strong arming him, you're making him do something that he's deeply uncomfortable with. It's a little bit like, I would like for you to do a TED Talk. So now start giving talks everywhere. Like, why are you forcing him to do something that is really uncomfortable for him, that isn't really going to, that isn't his idea. It's not his drive or desire. And so it seems extra cruel in many ways. Like, why don't you try to find the woman, BJ? You know?
Yeah.
I think this will be the rest of the season. BJ trying to figure this out.
I don't know how many more dates poor Reise is going to have to go on, but hopefully not many.
Oh, Lordy. All right. So let's talk about the Davis family because, I mean, the gift that keeps on giving. So the three women, Teresa, Jenny, and April, are going to this boudoir, having this boudoir photo shoot with this idea. It was Teresa's idea for the three of them to put together a calendar for Nick. Which I think is actually I don't think it was Teresa's idea. I think it was producer's idea, but I thought that was somewhat clever.
But Teresa says, I don't know if it's her idea or not, but she seems to think that this, sexy calendar is going to solidify her place in the family.
Yeah. Why is this woman so desperate?
You're putting a lot of expectations on this.
On a calendar.
On a calendar.
Because all you need to do is take it off the wall and throw it away. Like, it's not a binding agreement.
It's not like it's going to be forever plastered on your wall or something. You can't get rid of it.
Yes. And then Teresa's getting very emotional. She starts crying. She looks so different without all that makeup too. I was like, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's Teresa.
Unrecognizable with no makeup. Because then I noticed, I really zoned in on how much, she wears these ginormous fake eyelashes. Huge, takes over half of her eye space. Yeah, and very heavy eye makeup. And so she comes into because part of this experience is they do their hair and makeup for them. So she comes in with no makeup on. It's like, who's that?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well, and also she has these big, thick lashes, but she also has that thing. It happens to me if I'm not taking off my makeup and then reapplying it, where you have mascara on and then you try to freshen up the mascara and then it starts to clump. It starts to get kind of like, and that's what it looks like. Well, they look like these clumped up things.
Yeah, if you're wearing the fake eyelashes, you don't need the mascara.
It's true. But it seems like she's putting the mascara on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's very
thicker.
So, but she gets very emotional about this. And again, I don't know. I'm still a little unclear about any of this. I mean, these people seem to be very nice and very welcoming. And I don't see why you feel so insecure. I mean, I don't know. Teresa is just desperate.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem, is that desperation is not attractive. And I think that's what Nick was trying to say to her, to just chill out and just be yourself. And because she was saying that she was comparing herself to the other two women and saying that, she's just, not attractive compared to them. And she doesn't feel attractive. She doesn't feel good about herself. She has no confidence. She thinks she needs to do all these things to lock him down. And it's like, just be yourself,
Yeah. Which is what Nick wants. But you know what? I have to say, I'm going to say something. Nick,
I agree. I know what
we give him a lot of shit.
I know.
But I have to say that Vera, very smart. Very, very smart. And Vera is, so we see Nick at home with Vera and he's there with her and, because all the women are out and he's doing his job and he's explaining energy in the sun and planets and
thermodynamics
to her. And at first I was like, what is she? And then you hear her going, Daddy teaches me science. And she says thermodynamics. I was like, oh my God.
And then
Nick is doing it.
I know. Then she said, I love Jupiter. It's my favorite planet or something like that. So he's like, oh yeah.
So we could give Nick all the crap that we want, but I will tell you, he is actually teaching her. He is, even though it seems crazy, he is home teaching her and he is doing his job very well. Mm-hmm. So I was very impressed by this. I was like, look at Nick. Okay.
Yeah.
So
good for Nick.
But yeah, we get into this whole thing and then she talks about like feeling insecure and, this fear that Nick loves these other women more than her. And again, we keep coming back to the same problem, which is, yes, he does love these women differently because he has children with them and they live together and they've had this relationship for a while. I mean, it's like you can't make time go any faster. You can't expect to have this relationship with him. So it's just this like, what are you looking for? What are you wanting so desperately that you think you're going to get from him? It's you're never going to feel secure because they're always going to be ahead of you.
Yeah. He's been with April for, like 15 years, 20 years or something. I mean, like a long time. Been with Jenny a long time. So yeah, you can't compare your relationship with their relationship. It's just silly.
So she realizes that she needs to learn to love herself more. And that's the greatest gift that she can give to Nick is loving herself more, self-love. And then April's like, yeah, we see a lot of red flags with Teresa. So, yeah. And that's that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, they do the photo shoot and, they're beautiful pictures.
Yeah. I have to say, Jenny, for, I think that was the pregnant photos and all of that. I thought she looked great. And I'm sure Nick is going to be thrilled with it and all of that. Has anyone ever tried to convince you to do one of those boudoir shoots?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God. I had someone who was desperately trying to convince me to do it as like this women empowerment, like it will make you feel better. And I'm like, I don't need that. Like, I was just a little bit like, no, this is so, for some people. And I had one client who did it, who was like, she got these beautiful photos. She showed them to me and it really made her feel good about her body. It was like, great, good. If that's what you want. This is the last thing in the world that I would ever want to do is to put on a corset and lay around on a bed and take pictures of myself and then put it in a calendar and give it to Steve. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, this is the last thing I would ever want to do. But it's such a funny thing that people, this idea of if you feel insecure, a boudoir photo is just the right thing to do.
Well, maybe it works. It worked for...
Yeah. And what worked for Teresa, I guess, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it worked for Teresa. I don't know. It works for some people.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay. Well, that wraps up this episode.
Yes. And so let's just... Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
All right. We are back with Love is Blind, the reunion. And I just want to say up front, this reunion was much like season 9. Kind of like I wanted to like it a lot more, but I didn't. And at the end, I was like, I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I don't know if it was the season. I don't know if it was the people on the show. But yeah, it's just, this was hard to watch.
So not a single person got married.
No.
And there were just 2 people who made it to the altar, right?
Yes.
Allie
only 2. Allie and Edmund and
no, there
KB.
was 3. There was
No. But remember Jordan and
Jordan and Megan. But yeah, so only 2 people made it to the altar. Nobody got married. So I mean, Netflix thought so little of this season that they didn't do any of the normal things that they do, where they, bring back past contestants or. They didn't even announce the next season and have some people in the audience there for the next season. It was, and they really didn't put much effort into digging in. There were so many unanswered questions about stuff. I mean, for instance,
all right,
Anton and his drinking, that was such a big deal on the show. Never talked about it.
Yeah, well, they talked kind of around it.
Yeah.
And they basically talked about how Allie learns this information about Anton and then never even asks any follow-up questions. And she's kind of acting like, well, yeah, what happened after that? And what was this and what was that? I'm like, you made a big deal out of this whole thing. You were the one that had the issue with it. So you're not even going to bother? That was so weird. Honestly, I think she was over him.
Yeah, she'd already made up her mind.
Yeah, I think she was over him a couple of days into living together in Denver. I really, really do. I think because that whole, I don't blame her per se. What she got annoyed by was that, Anton would come home. They both worked overnight. And he would come home and he wouldn't even acknowledge her, say, hi, how's it going? What's happening? And his answer to that was just like, well, you're tired and then you want to do this and you want to do, you just want to kind of have a drink and go to bed. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but that is, that tells me a lot about Anton. But being in a marriage and being in a relationship with someone that you live with, that's part of it. If you don't want anyone asking you how your day is, be single. But you have a partner, and I don't think they needed to have these in-depth conversations. But I do find that a little, you can just say hi. You could at least acknowledge.
No. Wait a minute. In his defense, I'm sure he was pleasant to her. What she said to preface that was she said, you were all fun and games in the pod and, in Mexico. But then as soon as we got back here, she made it sound like he just came home and didn't even say a word to her, which I'm sure is not true. Also, he didn't do a great job defending himself. But look, if you work all night like that, you do have to kind of go to bed. Like when we get home from work, we could stay up for hours before we really have to go to bed. If you work overnight, you kind of got to get to bed pretty soon, because you're exhausted, Yeah. Anyway, my point is that I think, like you said, she was already over him. She didn't want someone who was quote unquote just a truck driver, which is what she said. And she wants someone with money. And Also, I can't remember which one of them said this, that when they were talking in the pods, they talked a lot about religion and religious values. And she said she was thrown off by the strippers and partying and the bars. And it's like, well, again, and so if that was so important to you, why didn't you have a conversation about that? And Anton was mad that this girl, his friend's girlfriend, who doesn't even know him, they've been dating for 5 months or something, is telling Allie what kind of a person he is. That she doesn't really know him. And I'm sorry, going out to a strip club one time does not mean anything. I mean,
I've been to a strip club more than one. Guess what? I don't see myself as someone who's like, ugh, but I mean, people go to them. They're social. It's kind of social in some
gentlemen's clubs.
Gentlemen's clubs. But there was a time, I feel like in the 90s, where, to go to
Scores.
Well, to go to a strip club, or like there's a place in LA called Jumbo's Clown Room. And it's like this iconic place. It's like that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a big group of us got together, like men, women. It was like, oh, let's go do this thing. So I'm not here to, too judgy with this stuff.
Those two, I've never seen worse communicators in my life. I mean, they couldn't even talk to each other. And so they're not ready to be married. If you can't have difficult conversations and say, well, this is bothering me, and can we talk about this? It kind of seemed like they didn't do that at all.
Yeah. And what I'm really saying about the whole coming home obviously the two of them perceived what it was like so differently, because I'm with you. Yeah. They want to get home. You want to go to bed, but there is that level of, you're in a relationship with someone. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours explaining what your day was, but like there has to be a certain level of courtesy. It's like sharing an office with one, sharing a roommate. You can't just whiz by your roommate. And so that's what I'm saying. But it sounds like what she wanted was very different than what he was giving her. And then they never talked about it. And then she just held it all inside and then basically said no to him on the altar. And
she wants someone with more money.
Yes.
And
someone who has the potential of making more money.
Right. And also, I just think that her family was in her ear. People were in her ear kind of saying, this guy's not good enough for you. I think she already knew that. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. I want to say something about the opening of the show.
Oh, okay.
Well, is that they had the opening of the show. There's this band who plays. I didn't bother to pay attention to write down like who they are, but it kind of sounded like the music that they play on Love Is Blind. Like, oh, you're the love of my life, and I'm just so happy. I was like, what is this? Nobody wants this. It's like, who are these people? I've never heard of this person. And then they call the people out, couple by couple, and it's like Miss America, like they're coming down a walkway, and it's like, and here's Megan. She comes out, and I was like, what is this? It was like a pageant.
Yeah, it was very weird, and everyone really went for sparkles. Really went for the sparkles, and there were some doozies of outfits. I mean, there were a few that I was like, okay, it just
and for the most part, everybody looked quite different. People had surgeries.
Who had
procedures?
surgeries?
What?
Madison? Did Madison have some work done, or did she? Because her face looked different.
Work done. Annie was unrecognizable.
Oh, that's
Madison
right.
had something done. Joe had kind of a glow up. I liked his mustache. Allie, I think, has had more Botox because, that's her thing.
Yeah.
Casey, I thought completely different.
You think?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Her face, these people's faces have changed. I mean, mind you, this was a year and a half ago they filmed this.
Yeah.
It was like the spring of 2024. So a long time has gone by, and they've all, saw themselves on camera, got a bunch of procedures.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
okay.
of who else. I mean, Megan looks different because we find out she has a baby.
Mhm.
So,
So-
all right, you want to start with them because that's the first thing that came up.
Well, okay. So it was spring of 2004. And so
2024.
2024, sorry. And so, I mean, yeah, it really, if all of this timeline makes sense, then that means that Sparkle Megan met this guy that she had the baby with a couple months later.
Yeah, I think she said August.
And then they got pregnant pretty quick
Within
they
3
said her
months.
Okay. Okay. So she had, because the baby's now 2 months old. I'm like, this is quite the timeline. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. A year and a half is still short when you get to meet someone,
Mhm.
conceive a child, grow the child, and give birth to the child. So
Yeah, it happened quickly. So they were set up by a mutual friend. So she did say she went out on a couple dates with Mike.
Yeah.
And that didn't go anywhere. And then
Yes.
she went out, I think she said she went out on a date with, is it Blake, who she was seeing in the pods? And he's the one who just kind of left one day.
Yeah. Yeah. That everyone loves.
So I think everyone does that after the show out of curiosity, like, what if I picked this other person?
Which I could understand.
I understand that. So she moved on from that and then she just, and nobody knew until maybe a few weeks back. They started leaking photos. And so I looked up this guy that she married. His name is Paul Wegman, and he's like the CEO of some company that I have no idea what they do. But that's good. That's more her speed.
Yes.
That's why she didn't marry Jordan. And so they had to ask Jordan, all about his son, and his son is doing well. And he said he didn't mean, when he said, I wish I'd never introduced my son, he didn't mean that like Megan is a bad person. It's just he was regretting maybe going into this experiment where,
yes, at all, maybe.
At all, right.
Or putting his son in this position.
Exactly. And he was, Jordan was very just kind of, nice, respectful, contrite. And they brought up how, that comment that Mike made about diabetes, and he kind of schooled everyone about the difference between type 1 and type 2. And he said that Mike actually called him when that came out and apologized. And so he has no hard feelings towards him.
And gave a bunch of money to charity. So Mike seems like a decent guy. He was kind of douchey, but I thought, he seems obviously like a decent person. And listen, people make that mistake all the time. People do. People always assume that type 1 and type 2 are, that they're both having to do with food. And, it is confusing because people aren't correct about it. So it's very easy to get misinformation.
And maybe Jordan wasn't clear that it was type 1, or maybe Mike just wasn't listening carefully, or, but obviously he, that he did the right thing and apologized and all that. But they were kind of the healthiest of the couples in terms of their breakup. And
they're also the oldest. I mean, the oldest and have the most. They're both parents now.
Right.
I think they're both in different places.
Yeah.
And I think, when I think about like how they all date each other, like after once they return home, it's like, it does make sense because yes, they were all dating in the pods, but you all live in the same city. You're all around the same age and you all are single looking for someone, right? Like how often do you get all those, that combination? I'm like, it's kind of a cesspool, of people that you can pick from. So.
Yeah. And isn't that the point of the show?
Yeah.
Check people out and whatever. So, so that was fairly, that was all non-controversial and happy ending. So let's see, who's the next person that they brought up? I think it was Casey and Patrick.
Yeah,
they bring out Casey, Patrick, and Kate. Yeah. So those were the only people who didn't get engaged, or well, technically, Patrick and Casey did. This Patrick and Casey thing, okay. just bizarro.
Yeah.
Really
It's very
bizarre.
bizarre. And so, because you have two people that have, and we saw what we saw. So we saw the clips,
Mhm.
but we've got KC really digging in saying, no, that's not what I meant. Or that's just, I don't know. I was kind of surprised that she just didn't come out and apologize and say, you know what? I realized I was vague. I thought I was sparing your feelings by saying this, but actually I should have just been more direct. That would have been the kinder thing to do than this. Because I think she was trying to protect herself the way, she didn't want to look bad. But I do think that she was trying to protect him. But again, you could have done this off camera and you could have been straight with him. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the producers would have let her do that. I mean, she probably wanted to do that, but then she would have looked worse. I mean, yeah. And Patrick said something like, well, like he could tell that she had her reservations and he's about the attraction. And he said, I just thought that, if we spent some time together, maybe eventually we could get there, and you didn't even give us the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a valid point. But also too, it's like, look, she has free will. Like, she's allowed to say, I think what was confusing was that she was all over him. She was like sitting on his lap and kissing him and telling him how great he is. And she's like, I just can't do this. And he's like, you just can't do what? And she wouldn't come out and say it. And I mean, the both of them, I think, could have done a better job. But the ring thing, that was really silly. Like, I don't know why he wanted it back. And I thought it was great that Allie just came out and broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Well, Netflix provides, it's not like you're out $10,000 for this ring.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, because I could understand if Patrick put the money out on it. I could see that completely.
Totally.
But if Netflix is paying for it, then there is a little bit like, isn't it on Netflix or the show itself to figure out like what's going to be our policy? You've done this 9 seasons now.
Right.
Not everyone gets married, right?
Yeah, there should be a policy.
So there obviously is no policy in place. So then it's up to the discretion of the cast members. So I could see Casey being a little bit like, why? You didn't pay for it. Why do I have to give it? You gave it to me. To me, So.
Yeah. And, obviously she doesn't want to get it. She brought it with her because she knew this was going to be an issue. And, I thought he looked really pathetic wanting it back. I mean, he should have just let it go. He didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
So what I love this. So he thinks he's getting this ring back and he's going to go sell it and make like a cool, $5,000 or something maybe. And then they they say, well, shouldn't you give it to a producer? And then he doesn't want to give it up.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of that whole thing where he kept saying to Casey, I'm giving you this opportunity to take ownership and apologize and all that. And I got the sense that she was a little bit like, I don't
apologize for what?
Well, and also a little bit of like, I don't need your permission, Patrick.
Right.
I don't need you to tell me how I should or should not behave. I'm an adult. And so there is something about Patrick's energy. I really, really feel like with Patrick that he manifested this situation for himself. He really did. Like his big whole thing was about how, I wasn't accepted because of my race. I was, people didn't see me this way. Then he goes on the show and it's like exactly what happens. And it's like, but seeing how he behaves, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if this can't always be on the other person. There's some times that I don't think you read signals and you don't quite, and you're not the perfect, you're not the, what's the word? The king of, apologies and how you should apologize and why and when and blah, 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 blah. So
I didn't understand what he wanted her to apologize for. I mean, she kept saying, like, when she was trying to break up with him, you know, granted, she could have been more clear.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she's young. This is a difficult situation. This is going to be on television. She knows everyone's going to see this. And it's hard to know what to say.
Yeah.
And in his mind, she didn't say the right thing. And so therefore she owes him an apology.
Yeah.
And I just don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think he should just leave her alone. You know, it's like, you guys broke up. You both have respect for each other. You don't, it's not because of anything anybody did. Like, move on.
Yeah. Well, Casey is an interesting one because I get the sense that definitely Kate and Madison do not like her because they had a lot of side eyeing of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wonder if it's interesting how we really got Patrick's version, because we see Patrick later at the cowboy event, right? The rodeo event.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets to talk about like, oh, well, this happened and this happened. And then she didn't give me the ring back and blah, blah, blah. But we never really hear from her, like what really happened for her when she got back. So it's almost like the show kind of set her up in a way. In some ways, maybe she just decided not to participate in any of the things. So that's, I guess, back on her. But yeah, I felt all of this was, you know, it is, at this point, it's a year and a half later, Patrick. Like, yeah, it's a weird situation. It was hard. It was difficult. You know, maybe, yeah, you would have liked her to be clearer, but it's done.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you need at this point?
And then at this point, when they started this basketball skit, I actually fast forwarded through it. And I didn't realize till I read something about it, the reunion, was that the whole basketball thing with the guy from the Clippers, whoever it is, was this way for Casey to earn the ring back or win it back.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a joke that they made towards the end of the thing.
Oh, I don't know. Because like I said, I fast forwarded through it because I thought that at the end when he was walking off after the basketball thing that somebody said, oh, are you going to give it to the producers now? You know, the ring to the producers. And because that would really be the right thing to do because they paid for it. And he just kind of blew that off. So I'm not exactly sure what happened with all that, but it was the only sort of silly thing they did, which I'm glad that was the only silly thing they did, but it sure did go on for a long time.
It went on for a long time. I saw some reviews from people, they were pissed. They're like, God damn it, this thing went on. Blah, 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 blah.
That was stupid.
It was. But I think it was a lot of jokes. And I'm like, what does basketball have to do with Netflix? Or are you a friend of somebody?
He played basketball.
No, I know Patrick did. Yeah.
Okay. He was the only Asian kid on his basketball team. That was his whole story.
I'm just wondering what the tie-in is with the Clippers. Is it like because they're LA and they're in LA? I don't know. I was just like, okay, they got someone from the Clippers to come do this thing.
Yeah. They got someone who's a Love is Blind fan who's on the Clippers.
Yeah, but that definitely went on too long. And then after that was that the Madison Joe stuff? And Madison is...
Oh, gosh, she's insufferable.
Ugh, Madison. Yeah, she is one that I noticed right away. I'm like, oh, you really, really, you continue to plump those lips. You are not going to let this go. And she did look different. Like she had gotten some, and that's fine if she wanted, you know, that's her prerogative. But it did feel a little bit like she didn't like the breakup. And she wants to punish him for the breakup. Because the thing is that he was struggling. And she was like, well, why didn't you? I was there telling everyone I loved you. And you were just, you just let it all happen. And it's a little bit like he's in this weird place where he's realizing, I'm going to have to tell this woman, I don't want to do this. But I'm here with all my friends and all these people. I don't blame Joe. Like, this is not the time to do it. It sounds like he did it as soon as you were alone. So... but she didn't like it, you know.
They did not get along from night one, or maybe it was night two. I mean, they fought and fought and fought, and she she is so insecure. She needs to work on herself. She went on some podcast and claimed that she got an eating disorder because of this whole experience, which, okay, I don't think it really works that way. But she said that the thing that set her off was they were describing to each other the type of people that they normally date. And I don't know what she told him, but he told her, I usually date women who are more petite, and that set her off. And I don't understand that, because in my mind, petite just means short.
Yeah,
it's 5'4" and under. Okay, petite doesn't mean that you're,
skinny.
Exactly. It means you're shorter. You have a shorter trunk, so your clothes fit different. You know what I mean? Like you have to. That's why they have a petite section, because the proportions are different. You can get a size 2 or a size 0 in a petite. Okay, so or a size anything.
Yeah, size. Or a size 14, 16.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is just. He just said one word that was like the wrong word, and it's not what he meant. He probably likes like little short girls or something, you know.
Because he's not that tall. I don't think he's that tall. So he likes women that are smaller than him.
Yeah, he likes to tower over women. So
I had heard this controversy about what he had said, and I didn't realize that the word was petite. Because I thought it was something like, smaller girls. I thought he said something like that, and I was like, oh, not good. But he said more petite. And yeah, I'm with you on that you can interpret that in a lot of different ways, but Madison, I think you're projecting a lot. And obviously you felt there was something about this relationship that made you feel insecure. I mean, they talked about how all they did was fucking fight. I was like, so he wants you.
Right.
I think it'd be one thing if he didn't want to touch you or didn't any of that stuff. He wanted you.
Attracted to you.
He was attracted to you. He thinks you're hot. He wants to have sex with you. He's banging you. Like, that's not the issue. The issue, but she really took that. Again, and again, I think this is also age stuff, because I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Like, one word and you know how much shit we all had to deal with when we were growing up, and all the weight shaming and all the shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's awful. And so this I felt like was nothing, but maybe for her and her generation, that seems like an attack.
Yeah, I don't know. She's very insecure and just really annoying. And she tried to bring in, she's trying to say that Casey's, the fact that Casey had a negative influence on her engagement with Joe, because did Casey come to the cowboy party?
I don't remember seeing her, but they were talking about a different party.
Oh, a different party where Joe was talking to Casey. And Madison says that conversation negatively impacted her engagement.
So yeah, the story that Madison's running with is, and I feel like a lot of the women made Casey the the scapegoat for a lot of this. And I think Casey, she's obviously attractive. She obviously is flirty. And I'm sure she was like at the party chit-chatting with Joe. How's it going? What's going on? I think everybody's kind of flirting with everybody. But again, Casey isn't going to change any of that. Like, Casey isn't doing that. But again, this is back to Madison's level of insecurity. So you're mad at him for his choice of words, and then you're mad at him because he had a conversation with someone who he, and then he went home with you. I mean, there's a little bit of like, what has Joe done that's really that awful? I mean, flirting, and maybe she was talking about how her Casey's hands were on Joe's chest. I mean, again, you could look over and see that for sure. You could see maybe she was just putting her hands up, or maybe she was just demonstrating something.
Yeah,
you know?
no one can ever touch your man, like in any way, shape, or form. I mean, no, she's incredibly insecure. This is all her problem. And then she gathers this posse of girls to gang up on Casey. And they're talking about this girl, Avery, who was Avery on the show. I don't even remember.
Is Avery's now is Joe's new girlfriend.
Okay, but I thought Avery was friends with who's the other girl? Kate.
Avery's friends with Kate. I think, again, this is just a small town thing, right? That Avery's friends with Kate. I don't know if Joe met Avery through all these parties and it was Kate's, or if they knew each other through different circumstances. Because that happens. People know people through different ways, but yeah, I felt like, I know that a lot of people had feelings about Joe, and I think, basically that song Man Child, and he did get a lot of like slack for being this quote unquote man child. But again, I think he was, this was part of the process. You get to decide if you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So, and it does feel a little bit like on this show, when the women decide, we seem to accept it. When the men decide, we get mad.
Yeah. Well, unless you're Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. Look, Joe came on this show. He did. God, he ended up. Joe, I like Joe. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with anything he did on this show, to be honest with you. I think Madison needs some therapy. Just my opinion.
But I think much like Patrick, it was like this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You feel insecure because you feel like, I'm going to be judged for my body. And I just want to say, she looks great. I mean, I think she has a rockin' body. I mean, and again, there was nothing, but again, I think, again, this comes back to preferences, right? There are some people that like women with a certain body type. There's other people that like, and men too. It's the same thing. But that's the whole part. If one of these women said, oh, well, I usually date guys that are like 6'3" and with muscles and tattoos, and wouldn't that be insulting to Joe?
Yeah. Joe would then feel inadequate because he's like, well, I'm only like 5'8", and
I don't have any tattoos.
Don't have a lot of muscles. I know it's a double standard.
It is.
And that's the thing. She may have right before that told him, yeah, I usually date guys who are like over 6 feet and, blah, blah, blah. And that probably made him feel insecure, but we don't see any of that. We don't hear about any of that. That's the way this show is edited. They edit it for a storyline. So anyway.
Yes. So, but it felt a little bit like you were waiting for this comment. You were waiting for it.
Yeah.
Just like Patrick was waiting to be judged for his race, and then to be rejected for it, in his mind, that's what he's thinking. In his mind. Yeah. So, yeah. There was KC was a big part of this because, so I guess she dated Joe, which they dated a few times, like for a month and a half. And of course, Madison's pissed, like the man I was engaged to. It's like, honey, you knew him about a month. Like, I love how they all write like this whole thing, this whole experiment and all that. It's like, no, let's put this in context. Yes, you were quote unquote engaged, but this was part of this show.
Yeah.
It was not a binding agreement. You had many ways, anybody could have gotten out at any time.
Yeah. So, okay. So who should we talk about next?
So that was the whole Casey thing. And then, where did we go to?
So we
next?
have Nick. I don't know.
Then we did a little bit of Nick and Annie, and then KB and Edmund. So Nick and Annie, it was weird because everyone felt like Nick was, what did she say? Chat GPTing, pickup lines, and that he had said things to, I guess he had said maybe similar things to Annie that he said to Kate. And I mean, I don't know. If I'm sitting in those pods all day long and you're connecting with someone, are you really coming up with like new and exciting, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We all have our lines,
And maybe he did feel the same way about two people. This happens all the time on this show. That's kind of the premise of it. I think the thing with Nick is he's just there's no drama with him. He's so controlled.
Yes.
And so robotic. And
yes.
And Annie was so not. And, they just weren't a good match. And she, got a little crazy there at the end. And I think was maybe drinking too much. I mean, I don't know. But then you saw her at the reunion and she kind of still seems like she's drunk. So maybe that's just how she talks. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, she was an interesting, that was kind of interesting. I didn't expect for her to have this attitude, which was basically like, I was really trying to fight for this relationship. And looking back, we weren't a good match. This wasn't good. Like, it needed to end. But I think that she just felt embarrassed. And no one wants to be broken up with on TV. Right. No one wants to be broken up with, period. No one wants to do it on national television. So I think that this was, I think she felt a lot of embarrassment. And I don't know if this is because she seemed to have a reason and an excuse for her behavior. And it was a little bit like, I'm with you. I think you were drinking too much and maybe apparently, again, allegedly, not allegedly, sorry. So Annie's ex has come out and said that she had a DUI. She had an ankle monitor on her. Oh. Again, having a DUI and getting like, that does not mean that you're an alcoholic, but it sounded like Annie's had issues allegedly with substances, at some point. And so she may be a big drinker. And maybe that's what a lot of what we saw, like her reactions to things weren't really authentic because it was the alcohol.
Yeah. And Nick, because he's so controlled, he doesn't like to see out of control. So he was just like, no, I can't do this. And he respectfully didn't hang her out to dry.
Yeah.
He could have
waited till they got to the altar. Yeah.
Or he could have even brought it up. Like, this was the reason why I broke up with you was because you drink too much.
Oh, yeah. You
know what I mean? Like, he could have just said that. They were not very exciting.
Yeah, I don't know, Nick, but they didn't ask. The one question I wanted to find out is, what's the deal with trans kids? Like, do you want to explain that comment to us? Because
they didn't ask any hard questions.
Because that was truly, I just liked the minute that the two of those numbnuts had that conversation. I was like, I'm out. I don't like either of you. I do not like either of you because you two somehow think you know everything.
Yeah.
You somehow think you know how to live someone else's life. It's like, it's not affecting you at all. So shut up. And I can't just, ugh.
Okay. So
yes,
the final couple, Edmund and KB.
So how do you feel about KB now?
So many feelings on this. I still hate her. Okay. I think that the way she got up and pulled that paper out of her bra and read him for filth. Here's the thing. I saw this guy on TikTok who he was some sort of clinician, mental health clinician. He said, the casting of Edmund on this show is probably the cruelest thing I've ever seen on reality TV.
Yes. I absolutely agree. He was, And his trauma and his stuff is so out there. I mean, yes, absolutely.
It was cruel. He is not emotionally equipped to deal with this show. He has a lot of unresolved childhood trauma.
Yes.
And I mean, I can understand. So KB's explanation for why things kind of turned was when they were in the pods, she could only hear him. So she couldn't see all the dramatics that went along with his crying. She said the crying didn't bother her, which I don't really believe, but it was the theatrics that went with it. So when they got out of the pods, he did the same thing, and she felt that it was manipulative. And that he used the crying to manipulate her, and then when it didn't work, then he just kind of quit doing it towards the end there. And she also said that it made her upset that, like, right before they would film, he would get her really riled up with his crying and his emotions. And then they'd have to go film and she'd be very upset, but she can't come off as an angry Black woman. And she was telling him, don't do this to me. Like, you're making it impossible for me to go film after this. And yeah,
And so did she ever like, because now, now that you see, does she now realize like Edmund was not manipulation? That is his trauma.
Yeah.
He's not trying to manipulate. This is truly trauma.
He's trying to get his needs met.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how to ask someone for he doesn't know how to get his needs met. He doesn't, he doesn't know what to say or how to ask for it. I think that he's, he obviously wants someone to love him so much that I think he was probably all over the place with stuff. And that's the other part of it too, is at some point you must have seen or felt like, okay, this is, for a social worker, she should have spotted a lot of this much earlier. But I don't know. I don't know if, you're in there and you're just thrown into the excitement of it all. I don't know. But
I think she did care about him. And at the end, she wants to give him a hug. And I shouldn't be so hard on her, but that when she started out with like lecturing him, I don't like her lectures.
Yeah.
That triggers me. Like, when she pulls out her notes because she's got a checklist of points that she needs to make in her lecture. I mean, I think that right there would make anybody just kind of like eyes glaze over. Yeah. Check out. Oh, this again? Because she lectured him every day they were together, multiple times a day.
But the problem is that even though maybe her lectures were quote unquote correct in that way, you're a social worker. Didn't no one teach you any other techniques besides this? I mean, I would think that, I have to do this all the time with my husband and son and people in my life where I'm like, okay, this way is not working. I got to find a different way. And so I would have said, like she should have realized the lecturing doesn't work. I need to create a connection with him. He needs to feel safe with me, because that was the thing. When you were lecturing him and yelling at him, he didn't feel safe. So you needed to wait till he felt safe and then have these conversations with him. But she wasn't willing. She didn't do it, or she wasn't willing to do it, or she didn't see that maybe that was the way, or she felt like she shouldn't have to do it. But then it's okay, then this was not the person that you should have said yes to. I mean, I absolutely agree. Edmund, they should have never casted him. They should have honestly paid for him to get therapy. That's what they should have done. They should have been like, you know what? Here's money to go work on yourself. Come back in a couple years.
Yeah. I wonder if he has had therapy or how much therapy he's had. I mean, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I don't know, but he's just so...
He's so young. He's stuck.
Yeah.
He's stuck at 13 or something. There's something he is very much stuck in an age that he cannot get out of. And the fact that he says, I don't harbor any, the fact that he's so quote unquote cool with his mother, it doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship with her now, but honestly, you've got to have some anger towards her. We all have frustration with our parents, and our parents didn't abandon us, So that's the thing that always kind of worried me. I was like, oh, this is not someone who has healed, because he's not being realistic about what is, because he's very black and white.
Yeah.
Because he is still 13 years old, because he's still a kid.
He's still in survival mode.
Yeah.
He said at the end of it, he said, I just want to thank the show I think he said, thank the show, because I never would have met a woman like you, talking about KB, out in the real world.
I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
He couldn't have hooked up with someone in the real world like her. So that right there shows you the level of low self-esteem and just low self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the stuff with Edmund was very cruel. It really was. He was not.
Yeah.
He was not in a, good place. It's so funny. I saw, you've seen people talk about the weddings, and this was my favorite comment that people made, who said, watch the Love is Blind, season 9, weddings. I saw the greatest love story ever between Edmund and his 5th grade teacher. And that's true.
Oh.
That was the greatest love story we've ever seen on the show, was those two.
Well, he still has her, and
Yes.
I want Edmund to heal, get help. Oh God.
Or find someone who can heal with you, who will do this, because KB did not want to do any healing with you.
No.
He, so maybe meet someone who, would want to go on this journey with you. But you need to, some EMDR or something to work through the trauma, something more than what's going on now. But hopefully I keep forgetting the name of the 5th grade teacher. Maybe she'll help him. She really gets him and understands him. So,
Yeah. Well, what do you think the future of Love is Blind is? Because it seems to just be really going downhill.
Yeah, I mean,
and they haven't even announced another season.
I know.
Which they always do.
You're right, because usually they would have another one like for that will drop on Valentine's Day or something like that next year, and we're not seeing that. I think that they have to change up the formula. I still think that you do the Love is Blind in the pods, but I think that the proposals need to happen differently. I think that like this whole thing of bringing people at the wedding and getting them to say yes or no, the wedding episodes are so boring. I just fast forward until I get to the point where because they're just repeating the same things over and over again. So I think they think that people are really tuning in for these dramatic weddings, but really what we're tuning in for is to see people, connecting with each other, deciding, okay, I'm going to do this. Now I see you. Okay, so now what? What does this look like? Like, I think it's like, I see you and spend time with you. Do we go to Mexico together? I think there needs to be more steps.
Yeah.
Like now we're going on to Mexico. So that way you could have a lot more couples that you could, because they would be dropping out much faster. But I think this sets people up because, like, for example, Edmund, for him, asking KB to marry him and going through, like, that was important, that was important to him. That was, he took that to heart. And I think and then there's other people that don't take, I think there's other people that are like, okay, this is just the next step. I say yes, I'll give it a shot. So I think that there needs to be more of these, like, okay, now are you going to keep going? Now are you going to keep going? And then, seeing what happens. But it isn't, the problem is that this experiment or this idea of is love blind really isn't true. Like, that's not really what it is. It's like you are matching people based on personalities, and then they have to see each other.
Yeah.
And then, can you connect with someone before you see them? And then what happens once you see them? So, because again, as we've seen with this show, if you are not attracted to this person, there's no
time, there's no room to do anything. And there's also,
and there's nothing, what can you do? Because I know that some of the couples have said, like, oh, I usually go for guys that are more like this, or I usually go for guys more like that. And that's fine. Like, yes, this might push you to look at somebody that you normally would walk right by, but you still have to be attracted to them once you're in the room. Even though they weren't your quote unquote type, you still have to be attracted to them. Madison, Joe, I mean, like, hello, he's attracted to you. So,
yeah, well, we'll see if it's going to come back. Maybe they'll do a revamped version.
Well, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think they have to do?
Well, the thing is, what you're describing, I agree. If you want to just matchmake couples, what you're saying is true. You need to have more steps. It needs to be a longer process. But the whole premise of this show is Love is Blind, that you agree to marry someone sight unseen and then actually, go through with it and then stay together and all that kind of stuff. And there's only a handful of couples who've ever done that in 9 seasons. So I don't know.
Well, and I think the fact that no one got married, like was every season, there's been at least one couple that got married. And a lot of these couples are still together. I mean, I'm saying that they've had success on this show. Like, there has been
not
success.
A lot, though.
I mean, one or two couples
And then usually
per season.
Yeah, and then usually at least one of those couples
Mhm.
gets divorced, like Lydia and what was the tall guy's name? The real super tall Melvin? No, Melvin.
Are you talking about Barnett?
No.
Lydia. Who's
Lydia?
Oh yeah. God, he had Milton.
Milton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they did get divorced. That's right.
They got divorced a couple years later.
And I think they were the only wedding of their season.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because the only people I can remember are from the first season, Lauren and Cameron and
Mhm.
Barnett and whatever the girl's name is. I can't remember.
Yeah. I think this is the third season, Alexia, the one that came from
they had
Money.
a baby. Oh,
and they had a baby.
The other couple who had a baby,
Bliss
and Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot. 9 seasons.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, listen, the Bachelorette franchise doesn't have, or Bachelor franchise doesn't have a big...
They don't have a big success rate.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think I think Love is Blind is falling into the same trap that a lot of these shows fall into, which is there's a point at which where it really jumps the shark. You get more and more people that see, okay, what this is. Oh, okay, I can get out at any time. I don't need to. Oh, you get a lot of followers,
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think you get a lot of that now, and people that are, I don't know. I felt like the people were better earlier on, but I mean, I think each city is different.
Well, it was more pure in the beginning because people were getting cast,
Mm-hmm.
Not because they were seeking anything. And then people started, lobbying to get on the show to get followers and be influencers and, for ulterior motives. So
yeah,
that was
same thing.
a lot.
Same thing with The Bachelor.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. I mean, so it's the fate of the dating show. So you either have to lean in and be like, okay, I know this is how it's going to be, and we're just going to keep making seasons, or you have to revamp. Or if you really want to test this experiment, you have to revamp.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what they decide to do. It's not going to go away. It's a big, big hit for Netflix. I don't think it, so I don't think it's going to completely disappear.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll be here.
All right.
We'll
yes, we will be. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this half Seeking Sister Wife, half Love is Blind. If you want to hear more from us, if you're like, listen, I need more of these two women, go check out our Patreon. We you get all the shows ad free. We do a weekly bonus. And then for our higher tier, we do a monthly Ask Us Anything and a true crime. We just did for our true crime, The Perfect Neighbor. And for the $8 tier, we're also covering Christine Brown Woolley's book. We will be dropping the final episode, we hope, which will be 9. So this is quite a journey. We take like 9 episodes. I think we're the only people that did this many episodes on who knows, on the book. So go check us out there. There's other ways to support us. If you're a fan of ours and you listen to us regularly and you haven't, please give us a 5-star rating and review. Those reviews really do help us. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can follow us on social media. We're Psych Legal Pop on all the platforms. What else? You can tell a friend.
Did you say YouTube?
Yes, we're on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
yes,
that's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff. Spread the word. You got a lot of jobs to do.
Yeah, it's a big assignment.
It's a multi-pronged assignment. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And
Thank
we'll talk to you later.
For listening. Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Hi, this is Hannah Burner from Giggly Squad. Have you ever put on a bra that makes you feel like a goddess? Prepare to be obsessed with the Dream Angels Wicked Bra from Victoria's Secret, the iconic brand behind the world's most comfortable bras. And I only wear the most comfortable bras. The bestseller features an innovative sling for perfect lift without padding, and the fit is chef's kiss. Awaken your inner goddess with new colors and super femme lace embroidery. Find out why this bra has thousands of 5-star reviews and counting. Shop it in stores and online at victoriasecret.com.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellows wherever you get your podcasts.